know, guys, it's just hard to believe that in 1891 this house was built for $52,000, and now it's become part of a Quincy tradition. We're going to take you on a tour coming up next.
541, there's a look at a Christmas tree at the Quincy Museum. That is one of many trees we're about to see. Hannah McNeff is out there live this morning at the Quincy Museum, enjoying the sights of the holiday season and all around. Good morning, Hannah.
Good morning, guys. We are here in the Quincy Museum this morning, and it is absolutely beautiful.
I wish we could see
we
it.
are joined this morning. With Barbara Wilkinson. Good morning, and thank you for having us.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting us to show off.
Yeah, you invited us into your home this morning.
Absolutely, the museum home.
The museum home.
Yes.
Tell us what's going on this time of year here. There's a lot.
There's always tons of things going on at the museum, the Quincy Museum, during the month of December. And one of the things we do is we celebrate our Victorian Christmas. So this year, our theme is a Civil War Christmas. And so we've invited some local florists and designers to come over and help us decorate.
Tell us a little bit about the traditions that have gone on inside the museum.
Well, traditionally, we decorate just about every room down here on the first floor, and it's something different every year. So if you've been before, you certainly should come back and see, because it is indeed different every year.
And I'm going to move close to you. Tell us a little bit more about what's going on in this room particularly. What room are we currently in?
This is the parlor. This was the most formal room of the house, and this is where the lady and the gentleman of the house would have entertained their guests. And so this room is done in very high-style Victorian by our friends at Adam Florist.
Beautiful.
So the ornaments on there are quite traditional for the Victorian period. A lot of them were handmade using gold lace and doilies and different things like that. Fans and various gifts were often placed on the tree for the lucky person to receive them on Christmas morning.
So instead of having them wrapped, this would be normally what you would see for
quite often.
the presents.
They would have wrapped them in different little packages, or they even would have set them on the tree, like the fan up there. Sometimes they would have put gloves on the tree.
So much has changed. I think that this is amazing for children to come in here and for you guys to explain to them that this is what it was like then as opposed to now.
They have a great time. They learn about where a lot of the traditional ornaments came from. There's stories behind so many of the ornaments, like the pine cone, and there's stories behind the candy cane.
What is the story behind the pine cone? Do you know it?
Well, the pine cone has a story that has to do with a little elf who, there was an old woman, and she was very poor, and she was with her children. They had no wood for firewood and no money to buy any. So they went out into the forest wanting to collect pine cones to use for fuel. And they ran into a little dwarf, and they were kind to him and, spoke to him and were polite. And he showed them where to find the very best pine cones. They picked them up and carried them home, and as they carried them home, the pine cones the baskets got heavier and heavier. And when they got back to their home, they discovered that the pine cones had turned to gold and silver.
No wonder they were so heavy.
So they put gold and silver pine cones in particular on the trees.
Oh, absolutely adorable. Now gold and silver has a whole different meaning.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, we have so much coming up next here at the museum. It's just a sight for the eyes, and it's just bringing so much holiday cheer into all of us this morning.
All right, you can take some of those gold and silver pine cones and melt them down and make some cash.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's a whole different outlook on gold and silver now.
I know. Unfortunately, it's become so materialistic, right?
Hey. I don't know. Not here today, though.
That's good. That's good. Keep it traditional. We will check back in with you in a little bit. So
I am in the Christmas spirit, and as you can see, I have my table all decorated. We've taken a couple steps back in time, and we're going to take a couple further when we come back.
Hannah is lost in a winter wonderland this morning, just like Lindsay's lost in state capitol land this morning. She's at the Quincy Museum. What is the favorite ornament on your tree so far, Hannah?
You know, I haven't found a favorite tree this far, but Chad, what kind of lights do you have on your tree?
It's pre-lit, so the lazy kind.
All right, well, we are talking about a whole different type of lit tree this morning. We're here in a different room, and we're joined by Barbara. Do what?
Please don't burn one down.
Well, thank you. Chad, you're just so intuitive. You know exactly what we're going to talk about. Tell us what's going on in this room with this tree.
Well, this room, the tree was decorated by the Quincy Museum staff and volunteers, and this is our interpretation of a Victorian children's tree. And it's kind of patriotic in reflection of our theme this year, which is Civil War Christmas.
Okay. And it's lit a little bit different than we do now. There's no LED on this tree, huh?
No, there isn't. Instead, it's lit with candles. We have red, white, and blue candles in the holders, which would have been the way they would have lit the tree back in the Victorian days.
And the children were obviously taught. I mean, now we're kind of like, okay, you know, we have 2-year-old, we don't want them messing with the tree. This was a whole different realm as far as teaching children to not mess with the tree then.
Well, sure. And in fact, the tree was part of their Christmas surprise because the children quite often didn't get to see the tree. It wasn't decorated until Christmas Eve. And so when the children would wake up Christmas morning, this tree would have magically appeared in the house with all the candles lit and all the ornaments on it.
I had no idea. That's something totally new to me, and I can't imagine having to wait that long. I don't know if I could even do that as a parent now.
It would be tough. It would really be an exercise in patience, wouldn't it?
It would. And tell us, on December 5th, you guys also had a different tradition.
Yes, on December 5th every year we celebrate St. Nicholas Eve with a special party for children. The children come and they hear stories about the historical St. Nicholas, and they learn a little bit about the Christmas traditions, sing some songs, and then usually there's a surprise visit from the jolly old man himself.
Well, tell me about the surprise visit as we walk into the next room too. And they don't get a surprise visit in form of a wrapping. It's in a shoe.
It is. In a lot of European countries, the tradition is that children on St. Nicholas Eve, which is December 5th, that's the official start of the Christmas season. And so they will wake up in the morning. Before they go to bed, they'll put their shoes by the side of their bed and fill them with carrots or straw for St. Nicholas's horse. And in the morning when they wake up, they'll find the straw or carrots gone, and they'll find the stuff replaced with candy and treats.
How wonderful. Everything, so many things have changed. We're going to talk a little bit more next and later on in the show about other ways that children are getting some surprises right here in the tri-state area.
All right, I'm enjoying learning all about the traditions and how some of these Christmas traditions got started. Thank you, Hannah.
I think mine are going to have to change.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I still enjoy the
revert back to the old ways.
The lazy Christmas pre-lit tree. So I don't know that I'll be reverting too much. We're going to get a check of your bus.
You know, I am sitting here in an Inglenook, and I am brushing up on my etiquette skills because who we're visiting next, she's brushed up on hers as well. We're going to meet with her in just a minute.
If you haven't been to the Quincy Museum yet this year, your family may want to check it out. It is all decked out for the holidays. Hannah is there live this morning. Hannah, what kind of information do you have on anyone who wants to visit this holiday experience?
Well, we have a ton of information in store for you, but before we get to when and where people can come and kind of get a taste of what I am this morning, we are joined with Janelle, and she has a story about what's going on with the theme this year and also what's going on in the community.
Yes, we've been taking our classes to the schools. With the budget cut, they can't come here, so that's what we've done, and we've had a quilt here, and we have things that we send to the soldiers because we're doing a Civil War Christmas. We have our tree here that was decorated with soldiers from Adams County, their CDVs, and it's just been a great experience for me, and the kids have really enjoyed this. And this quilt here is going to be it's a reproduction of a quilt that was made by maybe the Sisters of the Good Samaritans here in Quincy, or the Needle Pickets here in Quincy, and it was sent to the soldiers.
And I'm going to put you on the spot. What does CDV stands for again? People can look it up for the true meaning, but
I really have to say that because it's a carte de vista.
Beautiful. Much better than I could have done. Janelle, tell us more about when you go into the schools, what you do with the students and the trees.
Okay, we have other things that we take with us. We have a tree that's would have been made or decorated during the 1860s during the Civil War, which would be a tabletop tree, and it had the candles on it. Of course, there was no electricity. And then we tell them about what our care package would have been, what would have been put in there for the soldiers, and just like the requirements, the United States Sanitary Commission had regulations and requirements of what to send. And then we tell them about what toys they might have received at Christmas. And we tell them, like, here in Quincy, people didn't experience the Civil War as they did in the children in the South. And we tell them about letters. We have quite a few letters that were written and back here to the people here in Quincy. And one of the letters was written by a Union soldier, and he was telling how lonely Christmas was without his family. And and it gives the kids a different perspective of what was going on during this time period. And I mainly focus it on Quincy because in the paper you could read about the sleigh rides and stuff when this first snow came, and the bells going down Main Street.
And this story really hits close to home right now as our troops are coming home from Afghanistan and Iraq. And so it's kind of a different perspective. I'm sure the kids are reacting to it pretty close.
Yes, they are, and they all tell me about what they do, and what they put in their care packages that they sent overseas. So it's really, it's really no different than what was back in the 1860s. Everybody got together and helped out in the community.
Real quick, let's let everybody know when they can come here and hours and time and that type of thing too.
Okay, we're open Tuesday through Sunday from 1 to 5, and they'll be able to see this exhibit until the 31st, I believe, and then we're closed then and for the new year and until March.
So maybe after Christmas, everybody can come out, and it's a nice family tradition. It's a good place, and kids, I'm sure, have tons of questions when they come here because I know I did, and I'm definitely far removed from being a child. So we've enjoyed your time, Janelle. Thank you so much for inviting us over.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Chad.
Thank you, Hannah, so
much.
much.
Are you brushed up? Are you ready?
What's that?
Are you brushed up and ready?
I am ready. I've learned a lot of new things this morning.
Very good.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.